Why most people fail in trading crypto. Now, I'm talking about strictly trading, like short term trading or high frequency trading or day trading, is because most people trade chasing pumping green candles. I have been there, I have been a noob before, right? I've been trading for 5 plus years. So I know a lot of the pitfalls that people fall into. I have read about the pitfalls and I can relate. I used to chase pumping green candles, especially on the day of. Very stressful situation, high stress situation, probably the most you can get yourself into. Just chasing every percentage point, right? While the downside is probably much greater. Also not taking profits, right? I used to be more attached to any one specific coin, because of what I hear about fundamentals, right? Now, I think fundamentals are great, right? I think, some coins do definitely have fundamentals, but I think the coins themselves are gonna move with the bigger markets, namely Bitcoin, right? And if Bitcoin dumps, I think the fundamentals are gonna go out the window, especially near the peak of this bull market, where I have been trapped before in 2021. I am gonna do a lot better now in 2025. I've been thinking about the mistakes I have made in 2021 and how to improve upon them these past 4 years, right? And I think I have made quite a bit of improvements, and I'll share quite a bit with you guys. Okay. Now we're also going to be talking about some altcoins later in this video. I know you guys are here for the altcoins. We're going to be talking about ANKR Network, which is ANKR. Also going to be talking about AI16Z, which I have a long position in. Also going to be talking about Book of Meme. It's a meme coin, right? I think right now it is an appropriate time to trade riskier coins, but that is just my opinion, not financial advice. Okay, I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, smaller altcoins. I am also long on Bitcoin. I'm trying to catch a dip on Ethereum, but it's just been on fire. But that's fine. I think all altcoins, if not most, are going to be pumping this bull cycle, and we're still early in this bull cycle. Um, get one altcoin, present one to me that has not pumped in the last bull cycle in 2021. Okay, unless it has actually came into the market like maybe July or August 2021. I think most, if not all, the altcoins I've seen have pumped. The altcoins on exchanges like Binance US or Coinbase, yeah, I've seen, I think all of them pump. Bring me one, show me one that hasn't, and we can talk about that. But let's go ahead and talk about some Bitcoin news first, some major crypto news that could affect your altcoins before getting into the altcoins. Later in this video, usually after the 10-minute mark, you can skip ahead, but I highly recommend that you guys don't, because I never trade altcoins without a clear understanding of Bitcoin, because even if you have a very nice altcoin setup, if Bitcoin starts dumping, most likely your altcoins as well. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna be. I'm expecting some weekend volatility in here, and I'll show you guys why. Okay, it's gonna be so we have a possible breakout here. I've been talking about for the last couple of days. This is a falling wedge pattern, which is a common, probably the most common pattern you guys should definitely pay attention to. I love these patterns because it tells me, usually after an extensive downtrend, that the price action is more likely to break back out to the upside. Right now, Bitcoin, which is still the driver of this crypto market, we do see, even though Bitcoin dominance has been falling like crazy, we're underneath 60% right now, right? Um it's still the driver of this market, especially when this bull cycle starts peaking. Okay, if you don't believe me, just look at the monthly RSI from back in 2021, 2017, the last bull cycles. The monthly RSI reading, and compare it to your altcoin RSI readings, namely the total 3 and of course Ethereum. see what has happened. Did it follow Bitcoin's drop? Yeah, it did. All right, Bitcoin here, trying to break out. Okay, let's see if this is successful this time because I pointed out a falling wedge pattern last time. It looked like it was gonna break out. It looked like it was trying to break out, but it faked out. Okay, that happens. All right. Even though falling wedges usually break to the upside, I've seen downsides happen. It's just part of the risk management plan, right? Got to consider all types of scenarios. Nothing in this market is a given. It could turn on a dime. So right now, Bitcoin, if it actually breaks out of here successfully this time, we have a price target of just short of 125K. Price targets are estimates only. There could be more or less, right? Very much depends on the rest of the markets, right? Right now, I do think we have a pretty good setup in the macro level because one thing that is going to be very bullish for the financial markets, I mean, not particularly the employment markets, is basically the Fed rate cut that is, highly probable. Let me show you guys. Um, the CME Watch tool, which is very accurate, has been very accurate for the past couple of years. I've been using this. And last time I checked, right, the probability of a Fed rate cut in September, which is coming up now, okay, I think it's still above. Well, it's close to 90% still. It's been fluctuating about that 90% range because of that terrible jobs report that came out earlier this month for the US. So the Fed basically has, little wiggle room to dodge a rate cut. So that's going to be very good for the financial markets at least, not the job markets, right? Maybe in the job market after the cuts start happening, but right now, no, right? So that is basically what I'm seeing on the daily time frame. Bitcoin trying to break out. However, on this hourly time frame, there is a rising wedge, which works in the opposite way of a falling wedge because this usually tells you it's gonna break back down to the downside here. If it does, we're looking at it did already. We're looking at a breakdown target of about 115K. Will it get there? We have quite a bit of short-term moving averages that's coming up as supports. So let's see which one is Bitcoin going to bounce off of and make a higher high if possible. I have my money on it, right? I think this is still going to be a more likely a breakout here. I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion. All right, let's get into some news first, right? First piece is going to be by Cointelegraph. Ether price targets now 20K as ETH preps all-time high in 1 to 2 weeks. Ethereum has been on fire, and I think this time is different because I don't really see the divergence on the higher time frames here yet, at least, right? Weekly time frame, this looks like, it could actually invalidate a bearish divergence signal. We still have about a day's candle left until this weekly candle closes. Very important to be keeping an eye out on this Ethereum weekly time frame RSI candle, because if it invalidates it, that bearish divergence, that's going to be looking very bullish for Ethereum and the altcoins. This has been a long time resistance, about that 4100 level. Okay, as you guys can see, right? March 2024, December 2024, huge drops. Okay, if we can actually close above this for Ethereum, that's gonna be looking very good. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. Bitcoin S&P 500 correlation hits 80%, tying crypto to stocks. I've been talking about this correlation. If you guys are new, if you guys have been watching me on this channel, you guys should know that this is no surprise. That the S&P correlation with Bitcoin it's there, right? But right now, I think the S&P 500 is looking very bullish. It's it's in all-time high territory, and I think it's just getting started. Next piece here by Cointelegraph, $105 million. Ether shorts got smoked. Eric Trump throws shade at bears. Yeah, I just don't know what the bears argument is right now for a bear market. Um, I think you have to be shorting because you think we're in a bear market right now. Otherwise, if you're shorting in a bull market, that is just really risky stuff. Because time is not going to be on your side if you're shorting in a bull market, and you better know what you're doing because time is just not on your side, right? If you're shorting in the bull markets. So yeah, I mean, I would love to hear the bears argument on why it's bearish. I'm open minded to both sides of the argument. All right, next piece here is crypto potato. Buy crypto potato, Ripple, XRP, price explosion. Next targets for Cardano and more. Bit recap August 8th. Yeah, I think all of these big altcoins, smaller altcoins, are going to be pumping to an extent, right? There's going to be different multiples in terms of the multiplier that the coins could be pumping. I've compared quite a bit of altcoins that pumped last cycle. Some went crazy. The maybe the shittier ones didn't pump as much, but it still pumped. So like I said, if you see a coin that did not pump back in 2021, show me, and on a monthly time frame, show me, and then we could talk about it. All right. So next piece here is by Bitcoin Bull Run at Risk. News BTC, and it says Bitcoin Bull Run at Risk. Binance whale to exchange flow signals price correction. Now, I think there could be, two. I mean, there could be two, things that could happen, right? One is probably whales could sell the Bitcoin and just cash out. I mean, that would be probably bearish for the crypto markets. The other scenario is if the whales actually sell Bitcoin and get into altcoins. I think that would still be bullish for. I mean, that would be very bullish for crypto because the money's not going anywhere; it's going back into the altcoins. And what I'm seeing here is it fits more of that scenario. Bitcoin is not doing too much, and we have Bitcoin dominance falling, but the altcoins are actually pumping. So could the whales be putting their Bitcoin onto the exchanges and then selling to altcoins? That seems more like it's what's happening. All right, let's come over here to some altcoins now. I know we're kind of late. Let's take a look into Anchor first. ANKR, see what's happening in this market. I talked about a weekly falling wedge on the weekly time frame, still very valid, still near the bottom trend line here, right? So this is basically what I'm seeing. If Anchor is actually able to break out of this falling wedge, then we have a price target of just short of 11 cents here if it breaks out by this point, right? Let's take a look into the daily time frame and see what could happen. Now, even though falling wedges tend to break to the upside, right? Guys, I always consider the downside risk as well because there's still a chance it breaks down. Okay. Now, I talked about a falling wedge pattern on this daily time frame last time. It looks like it did get invalidated because it did break down. So let's refresh the charts here and see what we could be working with. Let's invalidate this, and probably, I think it still looks like a falling wedge, maybe on a shorter time frame. Probably something more like this would be valid, right? Yep. So this is still valid to me, even though the second candle is not exactly touching that bottom trend line, but it's close enough for me. And then We have a price target out of this smaller falling wedge pattern to be about 1.8 cents price target. I mean, that's almost there, but this is a smaller time frame. It's a smaller pattern. So let's see if Anchor can still continue its way towards breaking out of this bigger falling wedge pattern. I think it's very likely, especially if given that Bitcoin does not dump below 110K, right? That is going to be a big factor. All right, let's go ahead and go to AI16Z, see what's going on in this AI coin. I am long on this coin, right? And I'm trying to take a profit from this coin, right? So what I'm seeing here on the daily time frame, what I see here is a falling wedge breakout from way back in about February 2025 this year. Okay, this is still a valid breakout to me. Let me adjust the trend line. This is still a valid breakout to me, in my opinion, because we have a falling wedge, right? It broke out. It didn't do much for quite some time, which is not uncommon to see, right? Especially if Bitcoin has been just, I mean, you know how Bitcoin has been doing for almost the entirety of this year up to last month, right? It's just been it's been dropping and it's rebounded quite a bit, but I mean it hasn't really done anything too bullish. So AI 16Z broke out. This price action is technically still above this upper trend line of this falling wedge pattern, so that's why I'm saying it's still valid. Price target would be about $1.70. Price targets are estimates only, right? There could be more or less. Since about May, right, it has formed another falling wedge pattern that has also broken out and went on a little downtrend for a little bit. This is still a valid breakout. It's still above the upward trend line. It hasn't reached that price target of about 30 cents. Let's see if this is possible. AI16Z does have quite a bit of moving averages above the price action right now. That is resistance. Let's see if it can get over it. All right, let's go to Book of Meme and see what's going on in this market. Book of Meme, BOME, BOME. Okay, let's take a look into a weekly time frame where there is a falling wedge pattern, right? It hasn't broken out of this pattern yet, but it looks like it still has that higher low trajectory, right? Which is good because if you're on an uptrend, you want to see higher highs and higher lows, and it just had a higher low right here. And if this higher low actually holds, then you can expect a higher high. It is also on a key support right now on this time frame, which is the weekly 21 SMA at about 0.175 cents, right? If BOME is actually able to break out of this huge falling wedge pattern, then the price target, if it breaks out by this point, let's just say for example, price target would be about 1.6 cents, which is still a pretty big multiple if it's able to break out of here. Of course, the downside is going to be, it's going to be huge as well. But I still think if Bitcoin holds 110K, it doesn't break back into it, then, these altcoins are going to have some pretty good upside. Let's take a look into the daily time frame and see if I can get more clarity on what's going on. Daily time frame, probably a smaller time frame, right? 4 hour time frame. Okay. Falling wedge pattern. Again, it broke out at this point. So price target, according to that breakout point, would be about 0.25 cents price targets. That's it for these altcoins and wraps up for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins by dropping a like, comment, subscribe, or let me know if you want to see any other coins. I'll see you on the next one.